You're numb. Everything is too much and not enough at the same time. The gym sounds painful. Reading sounds boring. Writing sounds pointless. Having a real conversation sounds exhausting. But scrolling for an hour, that feels necessary. A Netflix binge, that's rest. Sugar, that's a reward. Your brain isn't broken. Your baseline is broken. Let me explain. Dr. Anna Lembke runs the Stanford Addiction Medicine Clinic. She spent the last 20 years watching something shift in her patients. She started noticing a pattern. Her patients weren't struggling with heroin or cocaine in the traditional sense. They were struggling with the same thing. Nothing felt good anymore except the most extreme stimulus. A person would come in addicted to pornography, not because porn itself was the problem initially, it's just a stimulus. But after years of constant escalation, real-world human connection felt boring. Ordinary life felt flat. Another person was addicted to shopping. The temporary high of buying something new was the only thing that moved them. Everything else felt numb. But the most common one she saw, dopamine addiction through phones. People scrolling endlessly, not because they enjoyed it, because normal life felt unbearable compared to the stimulation. Here's what Lembke realized. These people had raised their dopamine baseline so high through constant stimulation that ordinary good things, a meal, a conversation, exercise, creative work, registered as below their baseline. They felt bad in comparison. It's like turning up the volume on your life constantly. After a while, normal volume sounds like silence. One of her patients was a lawyer, successful, but he couldn't focus on work, couldn't read his kids' bedtime stories without checking his phone, couldn't sit through dinner. The constant stimulation had poisoned his ability to find any satisfaction in normal life. He did what Lembke called a dopamine fast. Not starving himself of dopamine, that's impossible, but voluntarily stepping back from the high stimulation things. He deleted social media, no streaming, no snacking, basic food, no shopping, no constant entertainment. For the first week, he was miserable. Every nerve in his body wanted to escape to stimulation. Week 2, he could sit through dinner. Week 3, he read a book and actually enjoyed it. Week 4, he had a conversation with his wife and heard what she was saying instead of thinking about checking his phone. His baseline had reset. Normal life became interesting again. The hard things, the gym, creative work, learning something new, started to feel possible again because they didn't feel unbearable in comparison to baseline stimulation. Here's the neuroscience. Dopamine isn't pleasure. That's the first thing to understand. Dopamine is motivation. It's the neurochemical that makes you want something. When you get a hit of dopamine, a notification, a like, sugar, winning a game, your brain registers, this is valuable. Do it again. The problem is, when you get constant dopamine hits, your brain adapts. It's called homeostasis. Your baseline adjusts upward. What used to feel like a major win feels like nothing. This is why tolerance builds. The first time you experience something, it's electric. The 100th time, it barely registers. Your baseline is set by what you consume regularly. If you're in an environment of constant low-level stimulation, notifications, algorithms, infinite content, your baseline rises. You need more to feel satisfied. Less intense stimulation feels boring. Normal life can't compete with that. A book can't compete with an algorithm designed by 100 engineers to hijack your attention. A gym session can't compete with a dopamine hit engineered in a lab. So you avoid the hard things, not because you're weak, because your baseline has been chemically elevated by constant stimulation, and hard things feel unbearable by comparison. Here's the liberating part. Baselines are recalibrated through behavior change. It takes time, it takes discipline, but it's possible. When you voluntarily step back from high stimulation things, your baseline starts to lower. Not immediately. Your brain will fight you. It will create cravings. It will tell you that you're missing out, that you need the stimulation, that normal life is unbearable. That's withdrawal. That's the reset working. After about 7 to 10 days of consistent, low-stimulation behavior, your brain starts to adjust. By 30 days, your baseline has shifted significantly. What was boring, a walk, reading, a conversation, starts to feel interesting again. What was essential, constant stimulation, starts to feel pointless. And here's what's crucial. Voluntary discomfort accelerates the process. It's counterintuitive. You're trying to lower your dopamine baseline to make hard things feel possible. So you add hard things? Yes, because hard things, real hard things, generate a different kind of dopamine response. Not the cheap stimulation hit, the earned satisfaction, the I did something difficult dopamine. This trains your brain to value earned rewards over cheap ones. A cold shower isn't pleasant, but it's honest. Your body responds. The stimulus is real. And after 30 seconds in cold water, a normal shower feels luxurious. Fasting isn't fun. But when you eat after fasting, food tastes different. Satisfaction is real. Exercise is hard. But the dopamine from real physical exertion, real sweat, real effort, that trains your brain that hard things are valuable. You're not punishing yourself. You're retraining your reward system to value things that actually matter. I'm going to give you a specific 7-day protocol. This is your first reset. Before you change anything, identify your high stimulation hooks. What do you reach for constantly? Social media? Streaming? Doom scrolling news? Sugar? Shopping? Whatever creates that cheap dopamine hit. Write them down. Don't judge. Just be honest. These are your baseline raising behaviors. Pick the single biggest dopamine hook, the one you reach for most. Delete it from your phone. Uninstall it. Make friction. At the same time, add one voluntary discomfort. It could be cold shower every morning. Start with 30 seconds. Fast for 16 hours. Eating window from noon to 8 p.m., for example. Early wake up. 4:30 or 5 a.m. for 1 week. Exercise daily. Doesn't have to be intense, but real effort. No snacking between meals. One removal. One addition. That's it. Your brain will rebel. It will tell you that you're missing out. It will create phantom urges. It will suggest that you deserve the stimulation. This is the process. This is what reset looks like. Don't fight the feeling. Acknowledge it. I'm craving dopamine stimulation.
This is my baseline resetting. This is temporary.
Then do something that requires focus. Walk without your phone. Read. Write. Have a real conversation. By day 5 or 6, something changes. The cravings are still there, but they're weaker. Normal activities start to feel more interesting. That cold shower, which felt unbearable on day 2, it's starting to feel clarifying. You've proven to yourself that you can do hard things. Your baseline has begun to reset. The neural pathway toward dopamine stimulation has weakened slightly. The pathway toward earned satisfaction has strengthened.
This is when you decide, do I go back to the old pattern or do I keep going?
Most people who do a genuine 7-day reset don't go back because they remember what it felt like when the gym wasn't torture, when reading was engaging, when a conversation felt like enough.
Your baseline right now is set by your choices,
not your genetics, not your circumstances, your choices. You can shift it. It takes discipline. It takes temporary discomfort, but it's possible. Here's what happens when you reset. Hard things become possible again, not because you became stronger, because you recalibrated what normal means. This week, commit to the 7-day protocol. Pick one high-stimulation thing to remove. Pick one voluntary discomfort to add. See what happens. Your brain will fight you. That's expected. That's the reset working. By day 7, you'll know something. Your baseline isn't fixed. Your capacity for hard things isn't determined.
You can reshape how your brain responds to challenge.
Discipline is the bridge between your current baseline and the person you want to become. Start before you're ready.